Is my audio fine, or I'm hoping?
Yeah, it's perfect. Perfect.
Oh, okay, excellent.
Clear.
Is my video okay? Cool, thanks.
अच्छा, it's good.
हाँ, अमोद आप लाइव जा सकते हैं and I'll start.
I think your video just went off. Yash.
यही थोड़ा इशू है actually, but just let me know. But then photo is still there, तो अगर if it doesn't go, no problem, no?
We caught you, spotlighted you, you're good.
ठीक है, just let me know when we go live. I'm still not visible.
No, I can see you. I can see you. You're visible.
Hi all, नमस्ते and जिंदाबाद साथियों. NAPM के युवा संवाद में आप सबका स्वागत है. एंड जैसा कि कई लोग वैसे ही जानते होंगे, हम ये हर थर्सडे को करते हैं और कुछ युवा साथी, इनफैक्ट ओवर द लास्ट 4-5 मंथ्स बहुत सारे युवा साथियों ने यहाँ पर आके अपने थॉट्स रखे हैं, अपने आइडियाज बताए हैं, जो उनका काम है वो बताया है और हम प्रयास करेंगे कि ये आगे बढ़ता रहे. इस महीने पिछले 2 हफ्ते से और या तीसरा हफ्ता है जब हम क्लाइमेट के बारे में, यानी जलवायु परिवर्तन के बारे में और जलवायु के बारे में, पर्यावरण के बारे में, उसके इर्द गिर्द के चीज़ों पर बातें कर रहे हैं. एंड उसी संदर्भ में आज हम सब यहाँ पर मिले हैं और हम बात करेंगे पर्यावरण और डेमोक्रेसी के बारे में, यानी लोकतंत्र के बारे में. और पोस्टर पे सवाल आप सबने देखा होगा. हमने बस ये पूछा है कि क्या पर्यावरण में जो बदल आ रहा है या जो क्लाइमेट चेंज हो रहा है उससे डेमोक्रेसी को भी कुछ असर होता है या नहीं. इज डेमोक्रेसी गेटिंग हर्ट? ऐसा एक हमने सवाल रखा है और आई एम वेरी डिलाइटेड टू हैव we are all very delighted to have some wonderful people here. मैं हर बार थोड़ा भूल जाता हूँ, इनफैक्ट हमसे कभी कभी भूल हो जाती है. तो इस बार I will take a chance to also thank people who've been trying to put the climate week or month together. So we have Anjali Dalmia from Yugma, Himshi from Himdhara, Shrishti from Vikalp Sangam, and Sri Ranjani from Fridays for Future India. And of course, great support from the NAPM team. तो हम लोग की यही कोशिश है कि हम ये बातें करते रहें. थोड़ा सा मैंने क्योंकि इंग्लिश हिंदी मिक्स किया, so I'll just welcome you all once again in English. Hi all, welcome to NAPM's Yuva Samvad. And since about 3-4 months now, and since a long time, NAPM in fact has been trying to bring young voices from across the nation together and to put forward their views on various issues that not only affect them but also things that they are working on. And because as a very young country and as in a way one of the pillars of democracy, we should be talking to each other. We should be sharing our experiences, our worries, and our thoughts and ideas and how we envision the future. So keeping that in mind, we have been coming up with conversations around climate in this particular month. And like every Thursday 6 p.m, we are here with you talking about climate. But this time it's about climate and democracy. Last time it was climate and economy. And before that it was climate and education. So I'll just hand it over to Arvind Natarajan, who's our host for today. He's a volunteer with a Blue Ribbon Movement and a very dear friend. Over to Arvind.
Okay, thank you for that great introduction. Am I audible to all of you? And okay.
Yes.
Okay, so thank you all for joining once again, and thank you, Yash, for the lovely introduction. So this is roughly how we are going to go with the flow. We have our 3 panelists today who are here to join us. So Srija, Bhanu, and Mitranshu. So the rough flow we are going to follow is we'll begin with Mitranshu, who will share for 10 to 15 minutes. We'll then move over to Bhanu for another 10 to 15 minutes. And then we'll request Srija to share her thoughts for 10 to 15 minutes, that she'll try and also share a little bit from the previous 2 speakers as well. Couple of rules that I wanted to share. So one is I'm going to request all of you to keep your phones and your speakers on mute so that the focus is only on our speakers. And also if you could keep your cameras switched off so that there's no internet fluctuation. Please feel free to use the chat section to share your comments, your observations, your ideas, your thoughts. Please feel free to do that and reach out to Yash or anyone else from the team in case you have any queries. I'm now going to take this chance to begin our session officially. So मैं मित्रांशु को इंट्रोड्यूस करूंगा पहले. मित्रांशु जो है गुजरात के है. He is a 20-year-old environment and social activist from Vyara, Tapi district, Gujarat, and has been fighting against Vedanta and has also been part of the Kevadia Bachao, Adivasi Bachao Andolan. So I'm going to now request Mitranshu to take over. Mitranshu, over to you.
Yes. Yeah. I hope आप लोग मुझे सुन पा रहे होगे अच्छे से. तो मेरी आवाज आ रही है सारे साथियों को क्लियर से?
हाँ मित्रांशु, सुनाई दे रही है आपकी आवाज.
या सबसे पहले मैं NFPM की टीम को धन्यवाद देना चाहता हूँ कि इस प्लेटफॉर्म पर आकर मुझे मेरी बात रखने के लिए, ये युवा संवाद में आने के लिए जो अपॉर्चुनिटी, उसके लिए मैं NFP की टीम को शुक्रिया अदा करता हूँ. और तो मैं सबसे पहले मेरी बात रखना चाहता हूँ कि आज का जो हमारा टॉपिक है कि यूथ एंड क्लाइमेट, तो उसी पर मैं अपनी बात रखूंगा कि पिछले कई सालों से देखा जाए तो मतलब जो भारत देश के सिचुएशन जो देखी जाए इन्वायरमेंट के ऊपर, जो यूथ की अभी सिचुएशन है पिछले कुछ सालों से, तो काफी दुख होता है हमारे यूथ को देखकर कि आज का हमारा यूथ कौन सी दिशा में जा रहा है. कि आज जो किसी भी देश का जो मेन पावर रहता है ना, तो उसका यूथ रहता है. जो हम बोलते हैं कि हमारे यूथ रहता है. तो आज यूथ कौन सी दिशा में जा रहा है, यूथ को मतलब क्या करना चाहिए हमारे देश के लिए. तो आज मैं बताना चाहता हूँ कि आज मैं एक इंडिजिनियस कम्युनिटी से बिलोंग करता हूँ. गुजरात के भील आदिवासी कम्युनिटी से मैं बिलोंग करता हूँ. और पिछले 4-5 सालों से हम लोग गुजरात में इन्वायरमेंट के ऊपर काम कर रहे हैं, इन्वायरमेंट और सोशल इश्यूज के ऊपर. तो आज पिछले कई सालों से हम लोग काम कर रहे हैं. तो हेलो.
हाँ मित्रांशु, आवाज आ रही है आपकी?
ओके. या
या
तो बेसिकली हम लोग अभी जिस मुद्दे पर यहाँ पर फाइट कर रहे हैं, जिस टॉपिक पर हम लोग यहाँ पर लड़ रहे हैं, तो ये वेदांता हिंदुस्तान जिंक लिमिटेड कंपनी है. आप लोगों ने नाम सुना ही होगा. ये जो कंपनी, ये वेदांता वो बेग का जो मूवमेंट चल रहा है अभी गुजरात में, तो उसके आपको ये समझना पड़ेगा कि ये वेदांता कंपनी है क्या. तो वेदांता कंपनी जो है जिंक स्मेल्टर हिंदुस्तान जिंक लिमिटेड, तो उनका जो ऑनर है नीरव अग्रवाल. तो नीरव अग्रवाल जो है अभी इंग्लैंड में है, लंदन में रहते हैं, और उन्होंने वहीं का ग्रीन कार्ड लिया है. तो वेदांता कंपनी को ऑलरेडी बहुत सारे कंट्री ने बॉयकॉट किया है, ब्लैक लिस्ट किया है. और भारत में भी देखा जाए तो तमिलनाडु है, गोवा है, केरला है, उड़ीसा है, बहुत सारी स्टेट ने वेदांता कंपनी को परमिशन नहीं दी है. तो 2020 में वेदांता कंपनी ने गुजरात सरकार के साथ MOU किया 2020 में. तो वो लोग गुजरात में तापी डिस्ट्रिक्ट के व्यारा में, वो लोग जो वहाँ पर ट्राइबल बेल्ट में तापी डिस्ट्रिक्ट के व्यारा तहसील के डोसवाड़ा गांव में वो लोग वो प्लांट वहाँ पर लगाने वाले हैं. तो उसके लिए यहाँ पर हम लोग मूवमेंट कर रहे हैं. और बेसिकली बात की जाए तो जो ये मूवमेंट स्टार्ट हुआ, तो 5 जुलाई को पब्लिक हियरिंग रखी गई थी उसके लिए. और उसकी जानकारी भी हमको 1 महीने पहले ही मिली न्यूज़पेपर के थ्रू. और तब से हम लोगों ने इस पर काफ़ी रिसर्च किया, वेदांता है क्या. हमारी यहाँ पर जो टीम है गुजरात में, जो यूथ की हमारी टीम है, 2000 से 2500 जितनी यूथ हमारे साथ आज कनेक्टेड है। तो हम लोगों ने पूरा रिसर्च किया इस पर, और 5 जुलाई को जो पब्लिक हियरिंग था, तो उसके पहले हम लोगों ने जो एआई रिपोर्ट में जो उन्होंने जानकारी दी है कि 10 किलोमीटर के 91 विलेज इससे असरग्रस्त हो गए, मतलब जो झिंक कंपनी यहाँ पर आती है। तो हम लोगों ने पूरी टीम के साथ 91 विलेज में जाकर अवेयरनेस मूवमेंट किया कि ये जिंक प्लांट के आने से क्या-क्या होगा, हमारे एनवायरनमेंट पर क्या असर होगा, हमारी मानव जात पर क्या असर होगा। तो हम लोगों ने ये पूरा किया। फिर 5 जुलाई को पब्लिक हियरिंग रखी जाती है, तो उसके पहले भी हम लोगों ने बहुत सारे प्रयास किए कि ये पब्लिक हियरिंग को हम लोग रोक दें। तो इसके लिए हम लोगों ने हमारे डिस्ट्रिक्ट के कलेक्टर को भी लिखित में ज्ञापन दिया, हमारे राज्यपाल को दिया, हमारे सीएम को भी ज्ञापन दिया कि आप लोग जब कोरोना की सेकंड वेव चल रही है, पूरे देश में कोरोना की वजह से इतने सारे लोग मर रहे हैं, इतने सारे लोग हॉस्पिटलाइज़ हैं, तो ऐसे माहौल में आप लोग पब्लिक हियरिंग कैसे कर सकते हो? तो फिर भी उन लोगों ने हमारी बात को नहीं माना और 5 जुलाई को पब्लिक हियरिंग हुई। तो इसके चलते गाँव वालों में जो रोष था, अपने एनवायरनमेंट को बचाने के लिए, अपने जल-जंगल ज़मीन को बचाने के लिए, प्राकृतिक एनवायरनमेंट सोर्सेज़ को बचाने के लिए, तो उसके चलते 5 जुलाई को वहाँ पर 8 से 10,000 लोगों की भीड़ इकट्ठा हो गई। फिर पब्लिक हियरिंग हुआ, तो वहाँ पर पब्लिक हियरिंग में जो 91 विलेज की जो वहाँ की जो गाँव वाले हैं, ग्राम सभा है, जिसकी अथॉरिटी रहती है कि गाँव में कुछ भी करने से पहले ग्राम सभा की परमिशन लेनी चाहिए। तो वहाँ के जो 91 विलेज की ग्राम सभा है, उन्होंने लिखित में दिया, कलेक्टर को भी दिया, कलेक्टर, राज्यपाल और सीएम को भी मतलब भेजा था कि हम लोग का इस कंपनी के खिलाफ विरोध है, हमको ये कंपनी नहीं चाहिए। तो उस दिन वहाँ पर पब्लिक हियरिंग में 91 विलेज के वहाँ के जनप्रतिनिधि थे, सरपंच थे, गाँव वाले थे और भी बहुत सारे सोशल और एनवायरमेंटल गुजरात के एक्टिविस्ट मौजूद थे। तो फिर जीपीसीबी के अंडर में और तापी डिस्ट्रिक्ट के कलेक्टर के अंडर में वहाँ पर जो पब्लिक हियरिंग हुई, फिर उसमें बहुत सारा घर्षण भी हुआ। तो जब पब्लिक हियरिंग खत्म होती है, तो उसके बाद देखा जाए तो कलेक्टर और जीपीसीबी के जो अधिकारी है, उन्होंने बोल दिया कि ये पब्लिक हियरिंग हम लोग अभी कैंसल करते हैं और ये कंपनी हम लोग यहाँ पर नहीं लाएँगे, ऐसा उन्होंने वहाँ पर स्टेटमेंट दिया। और उसके बाद पब्लिक बहुत गुस्से में थी और उन्होंने जब वहाँ के स्थानिक मतलब जो कलेक्टर थे, जीपीसीबी के अधिकारी थे, उन्होंने पब्लिक बोल रही थी कि हमको लिखित में दो कि ये कंपनी यहाँ पर नहीं आएगी। फिर भी जब स्थानिक प्रशासन जब पब्लिक हियरिंग में प्रशासन और जीपीसीबी के अधिकारी जब हमको वो लिखित में नहीं देते कि ये कंपनी ये लोग यहाँ पर नहीं लाएँगे। तो इसके बाद जो एक 91 विलेज के जो लोग आए थे, वो लोगों ने जो नेशनल हाईवे था वहाँ पर, वो पूरा ब्लॉक कर दिया। तो 1 डेढ़ 2 घंटे तक पूरा हाईवे ब्लॉक रहा। फिर भी लोग बैठे रहे। फिर अचानक से पुलिस प्रशासन ने वहाँ के पब्लिक के ऊपर लाठीचार्ज स्टार्ट किया और उसके बाद टीयर गैस भी छोड़े गए। बहुत सारे हमारे साथी घायल हुए, बहुत सारे लोगों को वो हुआ। फिर वहाँ पर पब्लिक भी गुस्से में थी और वहाँ पर पुलिस और स्थानिक लोगों के बीच बहुत सारा घर्षण हुआ। तो उसके बाद क्या होता है कि वहाँ पर जो पब्लिक हियरिंग के बाद जो वहाँ का स्थानिक प्रशासन है, वो लोग वहाँ वहाँ के 300 अज्ञात लोगों पर एफआईआर करती है। आंदोलन में जो लोग आए थे, ऐसे 300 अज्ञात लोगों पर वो एफआईआर करती है। फिर हम लोगों ने इसके चलते हाई कोर्ट में ये एफआईआर को क्रॉस करने के लिए हम लोगों ने हाई कोर्ट में पीआईएल दाखिल किया। तो अभी हाई कोर्ट में भी वो केस चल रहा है और ये जो मतलब मूवमेंट अभी चल रहा है ना, तो बहुत सारा मतलब स्थानिक प्रशासन हो और जो रूलिंग पार्टी हो, बहुत सारा प्रेशर यहाँ पर अभी भी बना हुआ है। लोगों में और पुलिस में जो घर्षण हुआ उसके बाद भी देखा जाए तो लोगों में आज बहुत सारी अवेयरनेस आ चुकी है। लोग अभी भी लड़ने के लिए तैयार है, अपने इन्वायरमेंट को बचाने के लिए, अपने लैंड, फॉरेस्ट, वाटर को बचाने के लिए। और अभी भी यहाँ पर देखा जाए तो परिस्थिति अभी भी बहुत खराब है। और हम लोग हर रोज कहीं न कहीं गाँव में जाकर अवेयरनेस मूवमेंट कर रहे हैं। और अभी थोड़े दिन पहले ही यहाँ पर नियमगिरी ओडिशा से कुछ साथी आए थे, जो लोग वहाँ पर वेदांता के सामने लड़ रहे थे। तो उनके साथ मिलकर हम लोगों ने 1 अक्टूबर से लेकर 6 अक्टूबर तक 91 विलेज में साइकिल यात्रा की, बाइसिकल यात्रा निकाली। और जितने भी हमारे युवा साथी हैं, वो सब बाइसिकल यात्रा हम लोगों ने निकाली, तो वो सब हमारे साथ बाइसिकल यात्रा में हर गाँव में हम लोग घूमे और हर रात को हम लोग मीटिंग रखते थे। तो जिस गाँव में हम लोग मीटिंग करते थे, वहाँ के आस-पास के सारे गाँव वाले, दूसरे भी जो पास के गाँव वाले वहाँ पर आते थे और हम लोग कर रहे थे। तो अभी भी ये देखा जाए तो ये लड़ाई बहुत अभी लंबी चलने वाली है, क्योंकि ओडिशा नियमगिरी का आंदोलन देखा जाए तो पिछले 13 सालों से वहाँ के हमारे साथी आंदोलन कर रहे हैं। आंदोलन के बाद उनको जीत मिली। तो अभी यहाँ के भी हम लोगों ने लड़ने के लिए मनोबल बना रखा है अच्छा खासा। और हम लोग क्यों विरोध कर रहे हैं इस कंपनी का, तो अगर 2011 की वस्ती गणतरी मतलब सेंसस के हिसाब से देखा जाए तो जो 91 विलेज के जो लोग हैं ना, वो 1,45,000 लोग सीधे असरग्रस्त हो गए ये कंपनी के यहाँ पर आने से। और 10 किलोमीटर में जो 91 विलेज आएंगे, वो उन्होंने EIO रिपोर्ट में दिया है। तो वो 91 विलेज के 145 लाख, वो तो 2011 की वस्ती गणतरी के हिसाब से उन्होंने डेटा दिया था। पर अभी 2021 में हम लोग देखने जाए तो 2 लाख लोगों को ये सीधा असर करेगा। और वो लोग वहाँ पर ही जो उकाई डैम आया है, जिसकी वजह से आसपास के मतलब पूरे डिस्ट्रिक्ट को वहाँ पर खेती करने के लिए पानी मिलता है। तो वो लोग उस डैम में से पर डे 4 करोड़ 50 लाख लीटर पानी लेने वाले हैं। और जो मैं बता रहा था कि जी भारत सरकार का जो GR है, तो वेस्टर्न घाट जहाँ से शुरू होता है और जहाँ से खत्म होता है, वहाँ पर हम कुछ भी इंडस्ट्रियल नहीं ला सकते, वहाँ पर कुछ भी खनन प्रवृत्ति नहीं कर सकते। जो ये वेस्टर्न घाट है, जो यहाँ पर कंपनी आने वाली है दुसवाड़ा में, तो उससे सिर्फ 6 किलोमीटर के आगे ही वेस्टर्न घाट है। तो ये लोग खुद के GR का उल्लंघन करके यहाँ पर कंपनी कैसे ला सकते हैं। और पहले भी देखा जाए तो जो जिंक कंपनी है, तो ऑलरेडी ये कंपनी डिफॉल्टर कंपनी है। 2018 की SBI की जो उन्होंने लिस्ट जारी किया था, तो तब भी ये वेदांता कंपनी 1 लाख करोड़ की डिफॉल्टर है। और फिर से अभी वेदांता ने 2020 में इस कंपनी को 10,000 करोड़ की लोन दी है। तो हम लोगों ने इसके खिलाफ भी यहाँ पर मूवमेंट किया SBI के सामने कि आप एक नॉर्मल इंसान को, अगर कोई युवा आज कुछ भी मतलब बिजनेस करना चाहता है, तो उसको आप लोन लेने के लिए मतलब कितनी प्रोसेस करनी पड़ती है, और आप ऐसे ही इतनी कंपनी को मतलब डिफॉल्टर कंपनी को इतनी बड़ी लोन कैसे दे सकते हैं। तो इसके चलते भी हम लोगों ने यहाँ पर हमारे युवा साथियों ने SBI के खिलाफ भी मोर्चा खेला कि आप ये वेदांता कंपनी की ये जो लोन है वो आप लोग कैंसिल करो, नहीं तो डिस्ट्रिक्ट में जितने भी SBI के अकाउंट है वो सब हम लोग वापस ले लेंगे, वहां से मतलब कैंसिल करवा देंगे। तो ये मूवमेंट भी अभी चल रहा था। और जब ये वेदांता जो पब्लिक हियरिंग के बाद हम लोग ने जो राजस्थान में जो वेदांता के जो अभी खनन हो रहा है, जहाँ पर वो जिंक बना रहे हैं, दरीबा है, राजसमंद है, वहां पर भी हम लोगों ने जाकर, यहाँ के कुछ साथियों ने जाकर वहां पर भी हम लोगों ने सर्वे किया। तो वहाँ की जो परिस्थिति है बहुत ही ज्यादा खराब है। और देखा जाए तो वहां पर जहाँ जहाँ पर प्लांट है, वहां के 10-12 किलोमीटर के आसपास का पूरा एनवायरमेंट डिस्ट्रॉय हो गया है, डिस्ट्रॉय हो चुका है। तो ये बात अभी समझनी जैसी है कि हमको क्या करना है, क्योंकि आज राजस्थान में हम लोगों ने खुद देख के आए हैं कि वहाँ के आसपास के 10-12 किलोमीटर में रहने लायक कोई जगह बची नहीं है। लोग खुद अपने घर जमीन सब कुछ छोड़ के
Mitranshu? I think we've lost Mitranshu.
या क्लियर आ रही है?
हाँ मित्रांशु, क्या मैं आपसे रिक्वेस्ट कर सकता हूँ अगले 1 मिनट में आप अगर थोड़ा सम अप कर पाए तो?
या श्योर।
या थैंक यू।
या ओके। तो बेसिकली बात ये थी कि ये जो हम बात कर रहे हैं कि सोशल जस्टिस, तो हम लोग बात करते हैं कि सोशल जस्टिस, तो मैं ये बात कहना चाहता हूँ कि इन्वायरमेंटल जस्टिस के बिना सोशल जस्टिस मुमकिन ही नहीं है। और आज पूरे देश के मतलब यहाँ पर हम लोगों ने, हमारे युवा साथियों ने एक नारा भी दिया था कि लड़ाई पढ़ाई साथ साथ, हम लड़ेंगे भी और पढ़ेंगे भी। और ये जो मैं लास्ट पॉइंट बताना चाहूंगा ये जिंक के बारे में, कि जिंक का जो प्रोजेक्ट है वो लोग 7 लाख टन रॉ मटेरियल एक्सपोर्ट करेंगे बाहर से, और उसमें से 3 लाख टन वो लोग पर ईयर जिंक का उत्पादन करेंगे। तो उन्होंने EI रिपोर्ट में ऐसा कोई क्लैरिफिकेशन नहीं दिया है कि जो बाकी का 4 लाख जो मटेरियल है वो उन लोग वो उसका क्या करेंगे। तो ये भी एक बहुत बड़ी सोचने वाली बात है, क्योंकि जहां जहां पर मतलब ये जिंक के प्लांट है हम लोगों ने खुद जाके देख के आए हैं राजस्थान में भी, तो ये सिचुएशन अभी यहाँ पर नहीं है। क्योंकि राजस्थान में भी जो साथी वहां पर लड़ रहे हैं ग्राउंड लेयर पर, उन लोगों से भी हमने बात की तो यही जानने का मिला गया कि हम लोगों ने जो गलती की है वो आप लोग नहीं करना। तो आज हम लोग यहाँ के यूथ, सारे लोग जो है यूथ है, यहाँ की महिला है, सब लोग मतलब यहाँ पर फाइट कर रहे हैं। तो मतलब आप लोगों से भी एक ही रिक्वेस्ट है कि जब कभी भी मतलब इन्वायरमेंट बचाने की बात होगी पूरे देश में कहीं भी, तो हम सब हमारे पूरे साथी आप सभी के साथ हैं, और हमें जरूरत पड़े तो आप भी हमारे साथ खड़े रहना। तो इतना ही कहकर मैं मेरा वक्तव्य पूरा करता हूँ। सभी साथियों को जिंदाबाद।
Thank you, Mitranshu, for sharing. So for those of you who didn't get the entire thing, I'll share a bit of gist in English. So what Mitranshu has been sharing is that they've been fighting against Vedanta in Vapi. They've been trying to build a zinc smelting project there, and Mitranshu and his villagers from the Adivasi tribe have been fighting against that for a long time. According to this, he was sharing a little bit of statistics around that. So as per the census, there are 91 villages nearby who've been opposing this, and some lakhs of people who are going to be affected by this plan. So I think one last line which he shared, which I just wanted to reiterate, was there is no social justice without environmental justice. So I think that's a really nice line for us to move ahead from. He shared a lot of other stuff, a lot of other statistics also around this, and mentioned a little bit about the government's own GR, which prevents this kind of issues from happening, but they've still been happening despite that. And funnily enough, the company Vedanta is actually a bankrupt company, and they've been able to get a significant amount of money from State Bank of India, against which as well Mitranshu and his fellow citizens have been fighting against. So I think with this, I would like to thank Mitranshu for sharing his views. So thanks a lot, Mitranshu. Kafi dhanyawad aapka. I am now going to move on to our next panelist, Bhanu. Bhanu, who is here. Bhanu is actually an activist and an artist who has been involved in an anti-dam movement in the Dibang Valley. So Bhanu has quite nicely prepared a presentation for us. She's put up a presentation for us. So I think, can I now request Bhanu to take over? Bhanu?
Yeah, hello.
Yeah, Bhanu, we can hear you. Bhanu, I think since you've joined from two different phones, there is an echo. You would have to put one of your phones on mute. So maybe keep your laptop on mute and then try and speak.
Yeah, it's actually
Yeah, this is
I'm sorry, give me 1 second.
okay. There is still an echo. Okay. Is it just for me or are others also getting this echo?
Is this okay now? No.
No, there is still an echo, Bhanu.
How do I do this then?
Okay. Do one thing. Maybe put your.
Someone has two systems on, I think.
Yeah. Bhanu has two systems. She's logged in from her laptop and from her phone. Bhanu, now can you unmute your phone? I think your phone should help. I think.
Oh my God.
And also, yes, Sanjeev has given a suggestion. Keep your devices apart. So maybe keep your phone a little away.
Yep.
Still facing the issue.
Okay,
Can you
is this
mute
fine
one of your
now?
devices?
Yeah, Bhanu, I think mute one of those devices.
Yeah. Is it okay now?
I think
Yeah,
it's
this
better
seems
now,
fine.
right?
This seems better.
Okay, this is fine, right?
Yeah, please proceed.
Okay, yeah, can you
Bhanu, we can share the PPT for you if that's okay, and you can speak.
yeah. So I'm going to speak about yeah, so the topic is the climate crisis hurting our democracy, right? So in brief, I'd like to say I think so. That's why I've actually prepared the PPT so I can, be in sync with the PPT. Can we have that, please?
Yeah, I think we have it up right now. Is everyone else able to see? Please type it on the chat if you're able to see this.
Can you zoom out a bit? That's not how it is. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to speak about in the context of Dibang Valley, So Dibang Resistance is ours as our group, which is formed by students, activists, lawyers, and various other people who are we are actually I'm so sorry. Give me a minute, okay? Can you put that on screen, please?
Yeah, they're trying to put it up on the screen. Just give us a second.
Yeah,
I think it's up on the screen right now.
Yeah. Okay, great. Yeah. So, so is the climate crisis hurting our democracy? In short, I would say yes. So this is a picture by Chintan Seth, who is an independent researcher, naturalist and geographer. So this is a fallen tree post flood, which has been happening. I mean, floods and landslides are very recurrent in Dibang Valley. So I'm going to speak in the context of the dams, several dams we have in Dibang Valley. There have been 18 dams proposed in Dibang Valley, and and I'm going to speak particularly on two dams, which is the Dibang Multipurpose Dam, which is of 3,000 megawatts and has a budget of 2,800 crores, right? And the other other project is the Italin hydropower project, which is like huge. it's 3097 megawatts. So we have like 6097 megawatt here, right? So that is not just these, but this is just excluding other small dams which are of like 300 megawatts, 500 megawatts, 600 megawatts, 200. I mean, there's a total of 10,000 plus megawatt in this twin valley, the Dibang Valley and Lower Dibang Valley. So that is insane, right? So I'm going to quickly wrap because I'm not going to go there. If you want to like know more details about the dams, I think you should follow our page, Dibang Resistance. So I'm just giving you what the main data that is, you know, how huge the dams are, right? And then it's 1,000 megawatt, including all the other small and these two big dams. So that is like 10,000 something megawatt. I want to share my screen as well. I have two more pictures which I have not included on this PPT. I hope I can do that, right? Right, Arvind?
They've already shared their screen, so I'll request the tech support team to maybe stop sharing so that Bhanu can go ahead.
No. Share it, please.
Okay, wait. Okay, can I now request
I'll
you to
let
share
you
it
know
again?
when I want to share my pics. Yeah. So.
Okay, please.
So this flooding
And,
happened since 2000.
Bhanu, I'm just going to request you to. Yeah. I'm just going to request you that whenever you want us to change it, do let me know. And meanwhile, if you could also keep sharing a little bit on the resistance that all of you as youngsters have done, that will be a really lovely addition to this.
Yeah, I have like 15 minutes, right? I'm so sorry for the interruptions before, but I think we should begin now.
Yeah, please.
Yeah. So NHPC is a joint venture by the Arunachal Pradesh government. I'm from Arunachal. I'm from Roing Lower Dibang Valley. So this is happening in my place, right? Like, so we are Dibang Resistance is like group of, you know, young people and a lot of people coming together against the dam, against the state policies that has encouraged these massive hydroelectric projects in our place, right? So what I was saying is, so total we have 18 dams proposed in the twin valleys, so which is like 10,000 plus megawatts, which is intolerable. We cannot accept that. Where am I? Hey.
Bhanu, I think we lost you.
I'm back actually. It's just my network is a bit.
Okay, please go ahead. Please share.
Yeah, keep speaking. You're audible.
Okay, great. I'll keep speaking, right? Yeah, I'll just keep speaking.
In case we lose you, Bhanu, we'll let you know. In case we lose you, please keep sharing.
Yeah. Okay, guys. So there are like 18 dams proposed, right? 2 are under the way. One has been sanctioned by the government, which is the NHPC product, National Hydropower Project Corporation, right? Who has done this joint venture with the state government, and who are doing that. And now they're not giving compensation to the locals. So the locals have taken this matter to the court, High Court now, just recently. That's my cat. I'm so sorry. So the locals have taken them to for compensation to the High Court, right? So that's one dam, which is the 3,000 megawatt dam, and then the other one, which is specifically we are focusing on, is the Italian hydropower project, which is a 3,097 megawatt, and which is not yet like sanctioned properly because we resisted it a lot. And then Jindal is the company, guys. Jindal is the company, but then now they are saying they have enough funds, so now they want to give it away to another company. So there are a few companies who are checking out, and like they want to buy it out from Jindal, the whole thing. So I'm gonna give you the name. Okay, the company is so the company is Satluj Jal Vidyut Nigam Limited. So these are the people who want to take over Jindal, because Jindal is now saying that they don't have enough funds for this, right? Can you please go down? Yeah, scroll down. And the interesting thing is what they're trying to do is, we are such a small town. Roing is such a small town. No, that's it. Please be on this credit page. I want to give credits to people who are like speaking to. Upar. The credit page, yeah, this still here, okay. So I'm speaking from source. So I've spoken to Sir Rakini Mipi, who is an RTI and environmental activist in Dibang Valley, which is Anini. So he's also filing RTI against. He has his hearing tomorrow again, from the court in Kolkata. So what he's been doing is there's a lot of like resource extraction happening in these places, right? So which they're extracting sand, they're extracting sand, they're extracting rocks, massive rocks. They're extracting, they're mining, they're drilling, they're checking where to mine, they're checking where to get oils from, checking where to get coal from. And they're still, and our state government, our politicians still say things like, oh, we have a replacement, palm oil. Palm oil is not the replacement, right? Like our chief minister is saying things like, hydropower project is green energy. Can you believe that? It's like, it's not green energy, it's not. You are eroding us. You are taking everything away from us. It's our home. And it's just basically there's a lot of anger and, a lot of people are very emotional right now. We are very emotional, and I hope you get it. But anyway, so sir, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, Banu. Please keep sharing. We can
Because
hear
I
you.
lost the screen. So
No, the
anyway,
screen is here. We can see that. So you keep
can
sharing.
you see me?
Yeah, we can see you too.
Okay, good.
Please keep sharing.
Anyway, yeah. So what I was saying is, so it's not green energy, right? So our CM is saying it's green energy. Hydropower project is green energy. That's not green energy, okay? So by the way, that's not green energy. And palm oil cultivation is because of the new schemes, Modi government is bringing in the Northeast. They're targeting Northeast, and our potential leaders, whoever so leaders, they're saying, barren lands, we have barren lands everywhere, we will do mass palm oil cultivation. How can you do that? You are going to degrade the entire, and it's not barren land, by the way, it's forest land. It's like millions of years old forest land. You're trying to say it's barren. It's not barren. It's not barren. You say, you put it under the tag of the government. They're saying that it's forest, government forest. It's not government forest, it's forest for everyone, okay? So you can't take out that away from us. So anyway, let's come back to soil erosion. So what I'm going to refer to is from Chintan Seth sir's articles. So he's referred, which I've already, all my links are there. So I particularly shared it here, and I hope you can share it later also, so that, others can also take it and download and read it. So the main reason for like recurring, landslides and erosions in our place is the glacier melt. So I wish I could show you the map. It's there in below. I can't see the screen. Again, my network is gone wrong. But anyway, so the main reasons are soil erosion का reason होता है, landslide का reason होता है, not because there's rapid rainfall in our place, there's a lot of rain in Arunachal Pradesh, rain. It's not like that. I guess we are like a rainy area, but yeah. So yeah, this one. So I'm on this page right now. So this is the landslide. This keeps happening. It's been happening for like years and years and years, which is completely ignored. This road is always blocked because there is always landslide. That is because of the glaciers melting, and then from the Tibet side, southern, it travels the river. Sangpot River travels to Arunachal, as from our place it's Dibang, and then it joins Assam, it becomes Brahmaputra. So Assam, and we are like the most affected areas, downstream Assam. And there's already, I can show you, there are two more villages here, Amlang and Longtung, which were like submerged, pura submerged ho chuka hai wo, during the flood seasons, like 2014 se leke 17 tak there was a rigorous flood, right? So can you show us the pictures? Yeah, these are like satellite images, and niche. Yeah. So this is how Anpum and Loklung settlement area look like. Please stop. Yeah. No, please stop. Like, can you scroll up, upper? Like, can people read the heading? Upper. So this is how the the Anpum and Loklung village looked like before, but that is during like
Bhanu, I think we lost you. Okay, Bhanu, are you there? Okay. Okay, I think Bhanu has dropped off. Okay, meanwhile, I think I'll try and summarize a little bit of what Bhanu has been sharing. So roughly, she's been sharing a little bit about the journey that's happened in her place, specifically Arunachal Dibang Valley. So there are multiple dam projects that have come up right now, and they've been opposing that. There are particularly two dams on which Bhanu was trying to focus on. One was a 2,500-600 megawatt power dam, and then the other one was roughly 3,000 odd megawatt dam. So she was sharing a little bit on that, and then the economic impact of that.
yeah, guys, am I clear? I'm so
Yeah,
sorry.
Bhanu, we can hear you. Yeah,
Yeah,
Bhanu,
my
we can hear you.
network. My network,
Sure, please,
man.
Please go ahead. Please go ahead. Please go ahead.
Yeah. Oh God, I have to log in again. No. Anyway, so the poster where they're holding banners, right? Like the second floor below the credits, there's a poster, right? Like people are holding no there's in Dibang Valley. So, hello. Hello.
Yeah, Bhanu, we can hear you. Yeah, we can hear you, Bhanu. We're all on
Okay,
mute
cool.
so that we can hear you clearly. Please keep sharing.
Can you like respond? Say yes, because I can't see anything. I can't hear anything. So I'm talking to nobody.
Okay, I specifically requested people to be on mute so that we could focus on you. So what I'm gonna request people to do is please keep sharing on the chat whenever Bhanu asks yes or no, so that at least she knows that we're all present. Bhanu, please continue. Bhanu. Okay.
Her mic is not visible.
No,
here.
I think one is mic, and I think the other issue is her internet connection. I think she has not been able to find a stable internet connection. She's dropped off again. ठीक है, तो मैं समरी जरा मेरा कंटिन्यू करता हूँ वापस जो भानु ने शेयर किया था. सो भानु अभी तक ये शेयर करी थी कि वहाँ पे दो बड़े डैम, एक तो बहुत सारे डैम्स आए हैं वहाँ पे दिबांग वैली में, उसमें से पर्टिकुलरली दो डैम के बारे में शेयर कर रही थी भानु. दो डैम्स जिनका काफी बड़ा पावर आउटपुट है, एंड उसके साथ साथ उनका इकोनॉमिक, उनका बजट भी काफी ज्यादा है. तो भानु वाज शेयरिंग अबाउट दैट, एंड स्पेसिफिकली दिबांग वैली में किस तरह का रेजिस्टेंस आया है वो थोड़ा उसके बारे में शेयर करने के लिए ट्राई कर रही थी, बट दैट्स व्हेन वी लॉस्ट हर. बट उसके अलावा अरुणाचल का थोड़ा बहुत इन जनरल वो टोपोग्राफी एंड उसके नेचुरल सराउंडिंग के बारे में थोड़ा शेयर कर रही थी. हाउ द फ्लड्स हैव, किस तरह फ्लड्स ने वहां पे डैमेज किया है ऑफ द प्लेस, एंड लिटिल बिट अबाउट अदर इश्यूज इन द एरिया. यस भानु.
Oh my God, I'm so sorry, guys. Like seriously, can you see me though?
Not exactly, but it's okay, Bhanu. I think you can just continue anyway. We can hear you, so please go ahead.
Yeah, okay, cool. So, so that's when AFSPA was imposed in our area. Arms for Special Power Act. Hello.
Bhanu, we can all hear you. We are all typing in the chat as well. You just keep continuing. Just keep sharing. And I'm now going to request you to please come back to the resistance that you guys did, जो आप सभी ने किया था as part of youngsters. जिस तरह आपने art के इस्तेमाल से आपने किया, अगर आप if you can share a little bit on that, so that will be really nice. And I'm going to request you to do that in the next 5 minutes, because we'll also have to go to Srija, who's been waiting.
Yeah, I'm so sorry, my network. I just hope you can hear me clear, right?
We can hear you,
annoying,
Bhanu.
man.
Yeah, Bhanu, I can hear you. I'm now going to request you कि आप
Okay,
आपके resistance के बारे में share कीजिए.
cool. can you just like keep scrolling and show everybody the PPT? Like just show them the PPT while I speak, right? Hello.
Yes,
Yeah,
Banu,
yeah,
we are here.
we are
Yeah, we are
sharing the
here.
PPT. Banu, you please keep speaking in the background. The PPT is
No,
being shared.
because you guys are not responding. Come on, man.
Banu, we've kept everyone on mute so that we can focus on you.
No,
I'm
can
going to
you hear
request
us?
people to.
Some of us, Arvind and some of us are speaking. Can you hear us, Banu?
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm here.
So
I
the
got my
PPT is
phone
being
connected. My
shared.
laptop's
You
not
please
connecting.
speak. You please speak. The PPT is being
Banu, just
shared.
keep speaking. We are here.
Can I see the screen? Can I see the screen?
Yeah,
We
yeah,
can
we've
see the
shared the screen.
Okay. Okay then. So the first below the credits, right? There is this poster that's when AFSPA was imposed. That was back in 2008. So we were very small then. So now again in 2020, so they proposed another large, huge dam. So we are against that now. So the thing is, so okay, let me talk about Dibang Race. I've completely lost because I can't see my PPT, right? Like that's how I've like actually scheduled my talk. Like, but anyways, I hope you're sharing this PPT, right?
Yes, yes, we are. We are. Just keep moving. I'm
Okay,
going to have to
just-
request you
just,
to now. I'm going to have to
can you,
request you to now share. Manu,
yeah,
I'm going to
gonna
request
wrap
you.
up. I mean, can
No,
you
no.
please not interrupt? Like, I'm gonna wrap up. Okay, I'm gonna quickly wrap up. Please don't interrupt. Just say yes. Like, when can you hear me say yes? That's all. Okay. Like, so please share the screen where there is like Nishmi Takin. No, there are animals in the screen, right?
No, they're not. Just keep going.
Okay, so just share the PPT, man, and like my Facebook page is Dibang Resistance. So we are waiting government's response to because we have sent them various letters and signatures and surveys that we don't want this. The report, the EIA environmental impact assessment report by the government based on the WII report, which was Wildlife Institute of India. Their report was completely biased, completely flawed, because that report said, it did blah blah blah, but then the actual reality is very different. Our flora and fauna is 10 times, 100 times more than what they've mentioned in the report, right? So that is completely flawed. All the data I actually shared on my PPT, which I can't see, but I hope it's okay. And what we are doing in the Dibang Resistance right now is we are just trying to collect more data, put out more surveys. So our politicians, our politicians can actually who actually pretend like they care can actually start caring, because they're saying things like it's barren land where they can grow this, it's green energy where they can do hydropower electricity projects, massive scale 10,000 megawatt in Dibang Valley alone. And then there are other states, other districts in Arunachal Pradesh, not just Dibang Valley. There are other millions, various districts where other hydropower projects are happening, right? So this way, entire Arunachal will become like the next Sikkim or the next Manipur, where Sikkim, how the drainage system, also the river beds have become now. There's no water flowing, there's no river, So what these dams, the hypocrisy of these dams, they're saying it's flood risk reduction projects, right? It's actually really funny because they're not flood risk reduction projects. What they're trying to do is just get money out of it, actually, to be very honest. But it's not flood risk reduction. You cannot control glacier melt. When the glacier melts, it's just going to slow down the river, and then it's gonna have an outburst. Once you release the water, there's going to have ground impact in the downstream areas, which is Lower Dibang Valley, my area, my district, our place, our district. Then there is Assam, which is just the neighboring district. So climate crisis, I think, climate crisis is happening. It's very real. It's happening because of reasons like these, because of our policies, the government framing to, completely the system is corrupted, and then this is how actually climate crisis is happening right in front of us. We have our Center for Water Quality, the state of, the center and the state of India, Arunachal Pradesh, National Disaster Management Authority, State Disaster Management Authority. Then we have, we need committees like, well-meaning scientists, ecologists, engineers, hydrologists, who can actually, design something around things that can actually help us, not export these energies outside, maybe to Bangladesh, to Bhutan, I don't know, but export these energies outside. There are going to be huge demographical shifts in the valleys. Our population is very meager. The entire population is very meager. It's very small in numbers. So, that's a completely different topic. I don't want to get into right now, but I'm going to give a, small idea. Like, so in the last census, we are hardly like 50,000, hardly a lakh in both the twin valleys, like the local population, and the non-locals included. We are hardly like the eligible voters. Voters are hardly 2 lakhs, something like that. So the demographical shift in the coming future with these huge projects, right, with these huge natural extractions and loot of our forests, we cannot afford it. We cannot afford it. We cannot afford in 3 crores, 1,000 crores. We cannot afford it. So yeah, I think that's all I wanted to say. So overall, I want to say is, can you hear me, Arvind?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so overall, I please just keep sharing the PPT, okay? And thank you so much for your cooperation, because I'm getting a bit agitated because I've been very emotional preparing for this talk, and I want to really talk about this via PPT presentation, which is okay. So I think I'm sure it's been done, but our government has signed 100 plus memorandum of understanding with big companies like Jindal, Reliance, with Jindal, with Reliance, with several other companies who are constantly coming to our place, and constantly doing small researches, trying to find which bed, which soil, which rock, which water they can extract and completely loot us off. So that is what is happening here right now. And I've been talking about it for almost 2 years now, in fact, and I'm glad you guys have organized this, and Yash has asked me to speak about it. But I wish I could speak more on social cultural issues, but that's for some other day, right? So we need, lastly, I'm gonna quickly wrap up. We are against these projects. We have 18 dams proposed in Dibang Valley, twin valleys, Dibang Valley and Lower Dibang Valley. Then we have NFPC, which is not compensating. People are getting crores and crores of money. They're not getting compensated. So now they want to file court mein jaake. They want to win the case. They want to get crores of money, right? So, which is very sad. This is very sad, because these are our own people, and they need to think, rather, ponder. It's not me targeting anybody. It's not somebody else targeting anybody, but it's their own people targeting own people. I think we need to get this very clear across. Our people need to understand this. This is, you're going against your own people. Doesn't mean othering someone else, but it just means that you need to have a grasp of the reality of the situation of this place you live in, your family, coming generations, sustainability. These are certain key points you need to keep in mind, and not just think about your own greed, right? Which is 50 crores, 75 crores. That's not it, right? Money cannot buy you a life that what you think it is. We had a barter system like 30 years down the just 30 years to introduction to currency to our people. We've been living off in barter situation, but now there's money involved, and then there's so much corruption. I mean, people are so greedy, right? I mean, plain words. There's nothing I can exaggerate, nothing I cannot it's just plain truth. So there's a lot of resource extraction. You know, one project is 1600 crores, the other one is 2000 crores. So other small projects are 3 crores, 5 crores, 20 crores, 500 crores. So, just think about it. Just think about how much damage you're gonna do, because we are all under reserve forest areas, right? And like we constitute 80% of India's forest land, Northeast India. But just think, apart from all the risks that we face, just think about what's happening. If the green forest vanishes from Northeast India, it vanishes from the entire map of India, because there's no other forest left in India, right? I mean, in Mumbai, they're trying to do save RA forest, which is great. I will support that. I support when there are people against Vedanta, like the earlier speaker spoke about it, right? So we are updated with these movements happening in India. But just think about what's happening in the Northeast, because we are so neglected. And then you come around and you want to know these things about what's happening there. That's not how it's done. We need proper platforms. We have so many activists, RTI activists, so many other activists, lawyers, activists, human rights. So many of them, working in line, like working on thin rope, trying to get things around, get things across. So that's where the role of media democracy comes in. Where's your democracy? Where's your media? Where's your liberty? Whatever, man. Where is everything? Like, dude, can you believe it? Arvind, can you hear me though?
Yeah, I could hear you. I could hear that. Now
Yeah,
I'm going to request. I'm going to request if you could. I'm going to request if you could move towards closing it so that we can move on to the next one.
Yeah, it's done. 2 minutes, okay, just 2 minutes. So the last point is,
Sure.
I'm sure our people remember the earthquake which happened in 1950, which completely killed half of the population of our place. Like half the population, people were dead from the earthquake in the 1950s. Arunachal is like very seismically sensitive zone, right? Like falls under 5. The measurement. So it's very sensitive, and then we don't know, we cannot predict earthquake, right? We cannot predict it like human nature. It's not like that. Earthquake can come anytime, and then we are having earthquake every other month. We have earthquake in our neighboring areas like Assam, there's Bihar, Assam, there's Nepal. So many areas always facing earthquake. We also have earthquakes, and then you go and talk about building this huge run of the river, like you are going to make a huge tunnel in the mountains. You're going to carve these, and then you're risking everything. I just want to say to my people, to people of Arunachal Pradesh, to people of the Northeast and India and whatever, that it's not feasible. We cannot afford it. It's simple as that. We cannot afford to have these dams. There are 18 of dams in our place, and total in all Arunachal, there are like more than 100, right? So, that's like millions and millions, almost $1 billion rupees probably. So because So I hope you get it right. And thank you so much, guys, for having me today. I've been wanting to, I've been keeping all this, in my head, and I wanted to speak about it. And I'm glad you gave me a chance to speak about it. I hope I was not too aggressive. I may sound a little bit aggressive, but this is how my voice is. I'm not aggressive actually. Yeah. So that's all. Thank you so much, and I hope my PPT is out there. I cannot see it, but I hope it's out there.
So actually, Bhanu, we have the PPT with us. So what I'll do is I'll request Yash or someone from the team to share it so that everyone can have a look at that. And uske saath saath, I'll also request Yash and someone from the team to also share the link to your Facebook page so that if they want to reach out to you, if they wish to be a part of your movement, they can also assist you in whatever way they can. तो मैं इसके पहले कि हम सरीजा को रिक्वेस्ट करें to take over, I'm just going to share a little in brief what Bhanu has shared. तो भानु ने काफी सारी चीजों के बारे में शेयर किया था. So जैसे मैंने पहले शेयर किया था कि she was talking about the dams in Arunachal, the budget of these dams and the environmental impact of these dams and the communities that they're going to displace. So भानु ने उसके बारे में काफी सारा शेयर किया था. उसके अलावा then she also spoke a little bit about how इन सब मुद्दे के ऊपर मीडिया का काफी बड़ा हाथ रहना चाहिए, सो दैट लोगों तक पहुंचे ये बात। अभी भले ही पीपल आर वर्किंग ऑन दिस, काफी सारे लोग वहां पे इसके लिए अभी मूवमेंट में जुड़े हुए हैं, बट इस चीज के बारे में इंफॉर्मेशन जो है अभी तक उतना लोगों तक पहुंची नहीं है। तो दैट इज व्हाई भानु हैज बीन रियली इंसिस्टेंट ऑन शेयरिंग अबाउट दिस। तो जैसे मैंने पहले बताया था, हम आप सभी के साथ ये प्रेजेंटेशन जरूर शेयर करने की कोशिश करेंगे। वी विल ट्राई एंड शेयर दिस वर्ड डॉक्यूमेंट दैट शी इज प्रिपेयर्ड सो दैट यू कैन हैव अ लुक। भानु का फेसबुक पेज भी आप जरूर देखिएगा, दिबांग वैली के रेजिस्टेंस के बारे में जो उन्होंने शेयर किया था, आप जरूर उनसे जुड़िएगा जितना भी आपसे हो सके। So thanks a lot, Banu. That was a really lovely presentation. I'm now going to request and move to our next panelist, who is an advocate, Shrija Chakrabarti, who is an environmental lawyer and the co-founder of Living Earth Foundation, acronym LEAF. So LEAF is actually an environmental advocacy group whose main job is to empower ordinary citizens to empower themselves and fight for environmental rights by engaging with the government and policymakers to ensure that environmental protection and preservation is undertaken in these tough times. So, Advocate Shrija, now can I request you to take over?
Hi. First of all, thanks to Let India Breathe and National Alliance for People's Movement for giving me this wonderful opportunity to share the stage with two really inspiring young activists, one from Gujarat, another from Arunachal. I'm really inspired by their stories and the way they are fighting big powers. And at such a young age, they have so much great understanding of the constitution, the law, and what their rights are. So, you know, this is a great thing that we have youth like this in the country right now who are not only willing to fight and also willing to inspire many more like them. So with that note, you know, I would like to restrict my talk to the point that why public participation is necessary and what are the laws or the constitution, how that protects it, and over the year how Supreme Court has time and again reiterated the importance of public hearing and reinstated that right to information regarding major infrastructure projects is part of Article 91 and also right to life. So on that note, I would like to summarize and, you know, talk about the zinc smelter issue in Gujarat, which Mitranshu spoke about. So going there, the area where the zinc smelter is proposed is a Schedule 5 area and it's protected under the constitution. And going by the latest census report, the district has 84.18% of scheduled tribe population over there. So the land where Vedanta is proposing the zinc smelter plant, the land was acquired under a Colonial Land Acquisition Act of 1894 back in 1987. Now, it has now become the law that whenever such mega infrastructure projects are proposed under the right to fair compensation, transparency in land acquisition, rehabilitation and resettlement Act of 2013, social impact assessment has to be carried out in consonance with the EIA. Like it cannot be the thing that there is a chapter in the EIA study conducted where social impact assessment is one of the chapters and that you pass on as the social impact assessment. So that's a separate requirement and it should happen parallelly. So in this case specifically, there was no social impact assessment carried out. And there is also a requirement under the law, under the EIA 2006, that at least minimum 30 days time has to be given from the date of publication of the notice of public hearing. So again, that law has also been violated in this case. A 15 days prior notice was granted, which was around the 15th or 14th of June. And thereafter, the public hearing was conducted on 5th July. Now, a very interesting point here is, if you look at the Ministry of Health's COVID notifications and the state government subsequent curfew notification, there is a very interesting word called COVID appropriate behavior, where the state and the central government insisted that people follow COVID appropriate behavior. But I don't understand this conduct of the state government where they themselves are not following a COVID appropriate behavior and expecting people to come out and have a meaningful public consultation 10 days from where the state of Gujarat had only partially lifted the curfew. That is point number one. Second is that let's not look at it in any other way, but look at this land acquisition and the whole conduct of conducting an unfair public hearing as simply as colonization. Because the land acquisition was done under a colonial law. The conduct of the state is nothing but a colonization and against a very, very vulnerable group where the district has maximum population. I'll say 84% of the population is tribal. It's there. It's quite evident that that's a vulnerable class. And the EIA, even the EIA report for the project was only in English, which was published around 14th or 15th of June. Correct me if I'm wrong there. And only after consistent protest, a 16-page summary in Gujarati was published. So I don't understand how that anyway qualifies as a meaningful public hearing process. So I would just like to briefly speak about what public hearing means. There are 4 simple components to it. First is that the people attending the meeting should have access to complete and accurate information regarding the proposed project. So the question that can be raised here is that process been followed in case of the Vedanta zinc smelter plant? So that's a take-home question for the audience. Second is the means and methods available at their disposal should be sufficient enough to raise objection. Now in this particular case, if the EIA is only published in English, where in a district where 84% of the population is tribal, I don't think that qualifies the bill here. Third is comments and suggestions to be recorded in a proper manner. I don't know if that was done here. Like I would like to know more about that. And the fourth and the last point is that the outcome of the public hearing has to have an impact on the decision-making process. Now here we know that there was violence and police atrocities that happened that led to a subsequent filing of an PIL in the Gujarat High Court. So if we put the conduct of the state, the Pollution Control Board and the company and do this check of the 4 parameters that I have just read out as the, the measurement of how the public hearing was done, I don't think none of that qualifies this bill. Now, the second is that, so this land was acquired, as I am like reiterating myself, in 1987, and it was lying ideal with the state government under, I think under the Industrial Development Board or something like that. So now after several years, after 25 years of land acquisition or even more, a 10,000 crore rupees project is proposed on 415 acres of land. So that shows the magnitude of the project. And where 91 villages or the Gram Sabha are objecting to it, there is absolute zero to no consideration of those objections. So this is the whole public hearing process is just a checklist that they have to go by and just finish the process with no intention of doing it as per the law. So there is zero regard for the rule of law. Second, there is zero regard for the constitution because it's a tribal protected area under the constitution. And also, again, I'm reiterating myself, this is nothing but a colonization because this is what the British government has done. And this is where what exactly the Land Acquisition Act of 1894 was brought into the picture. And if that is happening in a country where we are celebrating 75 years of independence in 2021, that's just disgusting in plain simple words. I will not mince my words here. Now, moving on to the issue that Bhanu has raised. So, the Italian hydropower project has been a bone of contention, I think, for last 1.5 years because National Board for Wildlife in a very controversial meeting of 7th April 2020 had cleared a huge array of projects, like it granted them wildlife clearance. So 21 projects were clear within a span of 4 hours. And if you plus minus and give them the benefit of doubt, every project would have gotten 4.5 minutes of application of mind. Now, the magnitude of the project that Bhanu has rightfully, highlighted is 3,097 megawatt. Okay. And there are 18 other proposed projects alone in the Dibang Valley. And the cumulative power that the government of India or their allies want to, derive from that region alone is 10,000 megawatt. So there was no cumulative impact assessment, nothing, no consideration at all. And the minutes of the meeting of that national board is highly criticized, and there is nothing that I can add. Now, coming to why this kind of decision making is problematic. First and foremost, the issue that Bhanu has highlighted, I really appreciate her effort that with limited resources, she has been able to put this in front of the Pan India. Not that the government cares, but I would like to reassure that we do care about it. And so it's not Northeast alone that is being attacked. It's across, like Kashmir to Kanyakumari and Gujarat to Arunachal is being attacked. And let's not confuse and rephrase it in any other terms that this is again another kind of colonization, because I'm sure the district that Bhanu is representing is also a tribal dominated area and also a very vulnerable area, not because of any other consideration, but environmentally vulnerable area. Any landslide, any cloudburst, they are the most affected people over there. But in spite of that, their voices are not heard and they are completely sidelined. So in such kind of decision making, the first and foremost thing that is getting violated is the public trust doctrine, because our rivers, our mountains, our wildlife, our forests are owned by all the citizens of India. There is no discrimination or nobody is higher or lower in that ownership. Everybody owns it in equal terms. The state and the central government put together is only a trustee. So if the people say no to one project, even felling, say suppose clearing 2 hectares of forest, rightfully under the law, they have to stop it because the public doesn't want it and the ownership lies with the people of India, the citizens of India. But here we see that no matter what we do, what kind of agitation has been launched, they have clearly no intention of heading any of it. They have long forgotten what their constitutional mandate is. And the constitution puts a mandate and a duty on the state under Article 48A to protect and preserve our natural resources and our environment. But it seems they have forgotten it. But all is not lost. So the youth of the country has to remind them, because the intergenerational equity comes into play. And it's a very, very strong principles on which all our environmental legislation and all the treaties that the government of India is signing ratifies it. So going back to, to sum up my thoughts, we often see that Ministry of Environment and various state government and the new forest minister, the new environment minister, their Twitter, their Instagram and Facebook is all about attending meetings, ratifying foreign treaties and always giving big commitments. Now let's go back to 2 of the commitments that Indian government is a party to. The Paris Climate Summit of the Paris Agreement of 2016, Article 12 puts specific emphasis on public participation. Then the Rio Declaration of 1992, the Principle 10 says, literally ratifies the importance of public participation in issues related to environment. So all of these laws in the country and the commitments that the government of India is giving to the international community, everywhere public participation is a point. And it's very nice and fancy to have Twitter pictures where you say, we have done this, the Prime Minister is ratifying this, and then some of them are even flying to such conferences. All being said and done, the practice does not follow the photo ops, clearly. Only 2 stories we have heard here. But as I said, from Kashmir to Kanyakumari, from Gujarat to Arunachal, everybody is impacted. And coming back to what is the significance of such projects on us, on the people of India or on the environment of India? Practically none. It's selfish corporate interest of few corporate houses. In case of Gujarat, it's Vedanta. In case of Arunachal, it's Jindal. And what is the corporate interest? It's cheap profit, because one thing should be kept in mind that our forests and wildlife areas are only subject to 5 signatures. Like your DCF, the Deputy Conservator of Forest signs, the Conservator signs, the Nodal Officer signs, then the Wildlife Board signs, and then finally the Environment Minister signs. So 5 signatures, the land is yours. So Great Indian Wildlife and Forest Sale that's going on. If you have to acquire land to do a project of, in case of Vedanta, it's 405 acres. I'm not sure if forest land is involved, but definitely it's some common land involved. And in case of Dibang Valley, if the projected derivation of electricity or exploitation of electricity out of that poor river is 10,000 megawatt, and you want to, achieve, let's compare it this way, that these are projects and this will has some specific economic interest for few corporate houses. Now, trying to derive that same economic interest from a revenue land is going to be a lot more expensive. But here you have India's forest for sale, where everybody is sitting in their chair, the forest department, the environment ministry, the state board for wildlife, where they are just rubber stamping clearances. And I will be surprised if any one of you can show me any site inspection report or a recommendation report by any forest officer or by the environment minister of any state where they just talk about environment or the forest. Everywhere it's, we are granting clearance because of public interest. We are granting clearance because of public interest. Now, a very interesting point is, can public interest be greater than national interest? Because the Indian government is ratifying and saying that the national interest is to, to abide by the commitments that we have given in the Paris Climate Summit to the international community. So national interest, definitely not. Now, in a very recent judgment that has come out from Bombay High Court bench at Goa, where Justice Sonak has very clearly written that the government of India, when they say that there is public interest has to be demonstrated beyond reasonable doubt. That is hardly there. I have never seen it. If any one of you are aware, please enlighten me with that. So 3 takeaway points from me. I really appreciate the engagement that the youth is showing, and with platforms like Let India Breathe and several other Fridays for Future and other platforms that are there, which is completely youth driven. I would say the biggest weapon should be gathering information, because now under RTI Act, I have got certain replies from the government of various states. I would not name them, where they say that the information cannot be provided because it's a trade secret. And it's also a matter of sovereignty. I don't understand what sovereignty here, by the way. Again, they don't say what it is. So they are using all these terms, picking it up from the Right to Information Act and not providing information. So in such scenarios, you have to debunk it. You cannot give up. Like you file an RTI, after 30 days, they give you such obnoxious reply. You give it to the press. If the press doesn't entertain you, you just publicize that. Because let's see what the sovereign interest is. A sovereign country, there should be a clear indication of the sovereign interest, right? Now, another thing is that the youth today has digital literacy, which the generation, 2 generations above us did not have. And also the willingness and the access to internet is very powerful. And that can be seen today where I am sitting in Karnataka and I'm speaking to people from Gujarat and extreme northeast of the country. So this is the power of internet. This is the power of communication. So I would like to, I would like to highlight that this can be used for our rightful means and purposes. Then it's always a habit that, when we are about to lose something, we appreciate the value of it. So if it's the Dibang Valley and just as a matter of just recording what we are going to lose. So if we are not successful in our resistance against such project, we might end up losing it. So why not have nature trails, document what is there? Just a nature trajectory per se, that can be one meaningful engagement that I think is a good idea. And then educate the elders. If you educate the elders, see, information and knowledge is something, the more you share, the more stronger you yourself become. I strongly believe in this. So if you have access to internet, if you have digital literacy, please share the information. You never know where it reaches and how and where help and support can come to you. And then lastly, engagement with government. So if don't get demoralized if you write 5 letters and you don't get response to anyone, but then you are registering your protest. That is very important. That when this was happening, not only were people on ground, not only were people writing, people was sending letters, because the government here and the corporate friends of there think that people of the country is idiots. And so we are not, right. We have to put it in writing. And we have to say that, look here, we have understood that it is nothing but money for you. But we may be very small in number, but we understood what is going on. So in all solidarity with the Dibang activists, it's really, really depressing that just for the sake of making some easy economic interest and money and selling power to Bhutan, China, and Bangladesh, with whom we fight tooth and nail. But when it comes to money, we don't care, of course. So lastly, I would like to end it. Please don't understand this as a public interest project. It is not. If anything is violating your constitutional rights, if it is against right to life, it's anything but public interest. So on that note, I would like to end.
Thanks a lot, Srija. काफी सारे points आपने share किए and काफी precise and really wonderful points that you shared. So मैं थोड़ा संक्षेप में बताने की कोशिश करूंगा क्योंकि श्रीजा ने काफी सारे important points share किए. एक तो था कि जन सुनवाई जो होती है, जन सुनवाई की importance क्या है एक democracy में. वो सिर्फ भले ही वो बहुत सारी चीजों में important हो, but particularly environment को मुद्दे में रखते हुए जन सुनवाई की importance क्या होती है. तो उसके बारे में काफी सारे एग्जांपल्स शेयर किए थे श्रीजा ने कि किस तरह दिबांग वैली में एंड बाकी सारे जगह में जो जन सुनवाई होनी चाहिए थी वो ठीक से हुई नहीं, वो ढंग की तरह से हुई नहीं, तो लोगों के जो ओपिनियंस है वो लिए नहीं गए. तो वो एक थी. एंड दूसरी जो बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट बात उन्होंने बताई कि वो थे EIA, जो EIA रिपोर्ट्स है वो जिस भाषा में उन्होंने पब्लिश की थी वो उस इलाके के लिए उतना फायदेमंद नहीं था. जैसे गुजरात में उन्होंने इंग्लिश में एक रिपोर्ट शेयर किया था, तो गुजरात में गुजराती में उन्होंने काफी देर बाद ही एक रिपोर्ट शेयर किया था. सो इन्फॉर्मेशन अगेन आई थिंक काफी इंपॉर्टेंट मुद्दे का बात जो श्रीजा ने शेयर किया वो ये है कि इंफॉर्मेशन इज पावर. जो सूचना है वो एक किस्म का एक पावर होता है जिसके थ्रू आप काफी सारे एक्टिविटीज कर सकते हैं. एंड देन फाइनली शी शेयर्ड a few suggestions as well. So I think really lovely suggestions, Srija. So thank you. I think Banu is dropped off, but I'd still like to thank all three of you for sharing your thoughts on this. I think we can now move to the question and answer question. We just have short span for that. Yash ka ek question hai. Yash's question. Yash, do you want to unmute and ask this yourself? Because since you're on the call, I think it would be lovely if everybody could hear your voice. So maybe if you can unmute. Okay, I think Yash couldn't hear me. Okay, so I think I'll share the question. This is a question that Yash has asked. Bhale, Srija, आपने थोड़ा share. Okay, Yash is here. Yash, can you hear me?
Yes, hi. Sorry.
So do you want to share your question with both the panelists?
Yeah, I mean, it's a little, जो ये पूरा है कि आजकल हमें लगता है कि डेमोक्रेटिक सिस्टम्स परहैप्स एकदम सही तरीके से नहीं चल रहे हैं. राइट फ्रॉम जो हमने जो सूरत के केस या मतलब तापी डिस्ट्रिक्ट के केस में जो हमने मित्रांशु के जरिए देखा कैसे लोगों ने ही एक तरीके से डेमोक्रेसी को वापस जो बोलते हैं ना रेल पर लाया, पटरी पर लाया. सिमिलरली ऐसे कई एग्जांपल्स हमने पूरे देश में देखे हैं एंड एनवायरमेंटल मूवमेंट्स कीप डूइंग इट. बट जब हर दिन देश के हर कोने में कहीं ना कहीं कुछ ना कुछ ऐसा हो रहा है, आई वाज वंडरिंग व्हाट डू द स्पीकर्स थिंक कि कैसे डेमोक्रेटिक स्पेसेस हम एनवायरमेंट मूवमेंट में भी क्रिएट कर पाए एंड सिमिलरली डू दे थिंक एनवायरमेंट मूवमेंट के जरिए हम डेमोक्रेसी को कुछ लाइन पर ला सकते हैं. एंड कोई अगर टिप्स एंड ट्रिक्स या एग्जांपल्स हैं कि कहाँ ऐसा देखा है या हम क्या कर सकते हैं इन ऐसे केसेस में, तो वुड बी रियली ग्लैड टू नो.
Okay, so I'm going to request मित्रांशु अगर आप अनम्यूट करके आप शेयर कर पाए तो आपके अगर ओपिनियंस हम पहले सुन पाए तो. So मित्रांशु, can you hear me? मित्रांशु Okay. I think Mitranshu. ठीक है, मित्रांशु नहीं है, शायद वो अनम्यूट नहीं कर पा रहे अभी. तो मे बी श्रीजा, मे बी इन द मीनवाइल यू कुड शेयर, तब तक शायद मित्रांशु आ पाए.
Can you repeat the question once?
I think Yash ka question broadly was how can younger people get engaged in the movement, and how can democracy, environmental democracy be a trigger for larger democracy in the society? Can these movements play an important role?
Yes, I believe, of course, they can. We have seen several youth-led environmental movements very active on Twitter and social media in the past 1.5 years, and how a lot of people with various kind of skills and sets have come together and communicated it through art, music, in any ways they can to send a larger message across, and that really helps. Now, people have this perception that, tweeting about something does not catch the attention, but it's completely wrong. So if there are multiple tweets sent from one hashtag, it becomes a news story in some media or the other. Like the example I can cite is the My Mulem movement in Goa. Every national television channel had sent their team in Goa to cover the story. So that's the impact of social media campaigns today. And of course, art is a very powerful medium to engage with people. People might not, be interested in reading heavy texts or listening to people like me, but then art communicates. So that's a very meaningful engagement. But if you are looking for more serious engagement in the democracy process, I think nowadays a lot of campaigns are there where you can just simply send your emails and thought to various ministries and authorities and decision-making bodies. I think that's another very meaningful way of engaging in a democracy. And also, if you are aware of any information or the impact of any project, share it widely. I think that also really helps.
Thank you for that, Srija. I think really lovely that you shared about that. Any more questions that we have, or I think I have a question जो मैं पूछना चाहूँगा. अगर कोई और नहीं है तो then I think I take the liberty of being the guy with the mic right now. I think Srija, आपने multiple times and throughout your presentation आपने काफी share किया about information being really important in the environmental democracy movement. So RTI के बारे में आपने थोड़ा share किया. So RTI में there is a very specific clause, section 4, which talks about suo motu declaration of information. So unfortunately, it's a very obvious thing that we've not been able to get governments to declare information suo motu. वो practice तो शुरू हुई थी, but it's a little slow. So how do you think environmental democracy में हम वो movement को किस तरह हम और थोड़ा तेज कर सकते हैं, suo motu declaration at least?
So it's a very, very important question, and I have been using this provision in a lot of cases that I am filing in Goa and Karnataka. And luckily, we have got a very good judgment. A PIL was filed against the dysfunctional of the Goa Tree Authority. And over there, we had pleaded this, that there should be suo motu declaration of information. And luckily, the judge has agreed to that point and has given a time-bound period for the Goa Forest Department to publish all the tree felling permissions over there. If anyone is interested, I'll share that because it sets a very good precedent that has come from an important high court in the country. So otherwise, we can do a lot of engagement letters to various decision-making bodies. Like in every state, there is a pollution control board, there is a coastal zone management authority, then there is a wildlife board, then there is the environment department, who should ideally put up all the information suo motu within 30 days of that decision, but it hardly that take place. In most of the websites, it's defunct. Unfortunately or fortunately, it's only Parivesh, which is a single window clearance system of the Ministry of Environment, where information are provided, but that's not to benefit us, but to benefit the project proponent to, see how fast track and easily they're getting the information. Then coming back to it, yes, suo motu information should be there on the website. Now, if you guys are taking any of these project proponents or this decision-making bodies to the court, do plead for it and cite the Goa government, the Goa High Court's judgment, because it has really set a precedent over there.
थैंक यू. आई थिंक मैं थोड़ा हिंदी में ट्रांसलेट करने की कोशिश करूंगा. सुओ मोटो का आई डोंट नो व्हाट द हिंदी ट्रांसलेशन वुड बी. मैं थोड़ा रेगुलर हिंदी में बता देता हूँ. तो गवर्नमेंट जो है उनको अपने आप से इंफॉर्मेशन वेबसाइट में डालना चाहिए एज पर द आरटीआई एक्ट, सो दैट आरटीआई फाइल करने की जरूरत ना पड़े, इंफॉर्मेशन ऑटोमेटिकली अवेलेबल रहे. एंड तो काफी एक अच्छा सा जजमेंट आया है गोवा हाई कोर्ट का, विच श्रीजा हैज जस्ट स्टेटेड. तो अगर आप कभी if you want to keep the, अगर आपको कभी इंफॉर्मेशन चाहिए, so you can use the Goa High Court judgment. आप गोवा हाई कोर्ट के जजमेंट का इस्तेमाल कर सकते हैं to share and say कि इंफॉर्मेशन जो है वो अपने आप गवर्नमेंट को डिक्लेयर करना चाहिए. तो वो एक प्रेसिडेंट की तरह आप इस्तेमाल कर सकते हैं. अगेन आई एम सॉरी, आई डोंट नो द वर्ड फॉर प्रेसिडेंट इन Hindi. If anybody knows, please do share that. I think Mitranshu has come back. Maybe I'm just going to do one thing. I'm just going to request if Mitranshu could share some closing thoughts of his on this, and then maybe we can move to Srija for this. Mitranshu?
Yeah.
हाँ, Mitranshu, please go ahead.
Arvind. Yeah. क्वेश्चन क्या था यश का?
हाँ, तो यश का जो क्वेश्चन था वो सृजा ने काफी डिटेल में शेयर किया है. मैं बस आपसे एक रिक्वेस्ट करूंगा, अगर आप आपके क्लोजिंग थॉट्स, अगर आप 30 सेकंड से 1 मिनट के अंदर अगर आप आपके क्लोजिंग थॉट्स इसमें शेयर कर पाए तो वो काफी हेल्पफुल रहेगा. एंड अगर आप कैमरा स्विच ऑन करेंगे तो और भी अच्छा रहेगा. आपको हम देखना चाहेंगे अगर आप कर सके तो. शायद Mitranshu is losing his internet, I think. Mitranshu,
yeah,
do you have?
Yeah.
हाँ, Mitranshu, please share.
या तो बात ये थी कि हम यूथ की आज बात कर रहे हैं बेसिकली. तो गुजरात की, क्योंकि यहाँ पर जो अभी सिचुएशन क्रिएट हुई है पिछले मतलब कुछ सालों से, मतलब तो देखने जाए तो पिछले कुछ सालों से मतलब काफी है हमारे साथ बहुत सारे
मित्रांशु, आपका इंटरनेट थोड़ा वीक है. मित्रांशु, आपका इंटरनेट थोड़ा वीक है. हम आपकी पूरी बात सुन नहीं पाए. सो आई थिंक अगर आपको इंटरनेट का इश्यूज है, सो क्या मैं रिक्वेस्ट कर सकता हूँ आप चैट में टाइप कर दे, सो दैट एटलीस्ट जो है चैट पढ़ सके. अगर आप चैट में टाइप करें तो. So Mitranshu, whenever you have the time, please do share it in the chat. Meanwhile, Srija, now can I request you? I mean, you've shared a lot, but if you could share some closing comments on this before I pass it on. So over to you.
I think we should have more discussions like this and hear from people across the country what their challenges has been, and if there is anything, any particular question that or explanation to any, or clarification, simply like how you asked that what is our way of demanding compliance to that suo motu provision that's there in the RTI Act. So if there are any such questions that comes up, you can, like, anybody can reach out to me. I'll put my email ID over here, and also I'll put out the email ID of my organization, Living Earth Foundation. If anybody has a follow-up question, or in general any question by any community or any activist per se, which they want to ask, and if there is any shortcoming or limitation in understanding any legal provision, feel free to email at livingearthfoundation@gmail.com. Thank you.
Thank you. Srija ने अपना email IDs वगैरह भी शेयर किया है, and लिविंग अर्थ फाउंडेशन के डिटेल्स भी शेयर किए हैं. सो प्लीज डू रीच आउट टू हर अगर आपको कभी कुछ हेल्प करने का और आपको अगर कभी जुड़ने का मौका हो या इंटरेस्ट हो तो। आई डोंट थिंक मित्रांशु इज बैक, उनकी ऑडियो ठीक नहीं हुई है शायद अभी तक। सो इसके पहले कि वी मूव टू द क्लोजिंग,
वॉइस आ रही है।
ओके ओके मित्रांशु प्लीज शेयर कीजिए।
हाँ, तो मैं ये बात बता रहा था कि गुजरात में जो अभी सिचुएशन है कि गुजरात का जो यूथ है लड़ना भी चाहता है, सब कुछ करना, मतलब कोई भी मूवमेंट हो, मतलब सोशल मूवमेंट हो या एनवायरमेंटल या कुछ भी, तो गुजरात सिचुएशन है करवाएगा कौन? कि आज गुजरात में देखा जाए तो में
Okay, I think we lost Mitranshu. Okay. Okay, I think we don't have any more questions. So I think I would then request Yash to take over. Yash, can you hear me?
Yeah, hi again.
Yeah, over to you,
Can
Yash.
you hear me? Okay, thanks so much, Arvind, for managing and making the best out of the technical difficulties we're having today. Thanks a lot for streamlining stuff, and thanks to all the audience, and especially to the NAPM tech team. Big shout out to you guys, and of course our lovely speakers this evening, Mitranshu and Bhanu and Srija. And it was really nice to see how things were intersecting right on screen, which is I think very like a key thing about the environment movement itself. So thanks for joining, and see you all next Thursday. We are having a really exciting session next Thursday. It's about climate crisis and alternatives, right? Because people often keep asking, "Acha, ये नहीं करना तो फिर कैसे करोगे?" Right? That keeps happening so much. So we'll try and bring you the best of alternatives that we can fetch for you next Thursday. मैं बस एक बार हिंदी में दोहराऊंगा। सबको बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया, जोहार एंड जिंदाबाद। स्पेशली अरविंद को फॉर मॉडरेटिंग सो वेल इतनी सारी टेक्निकल डिफिकल्टीज के बावजूद। और बहुत अच्छा लगा देखकर कैसे सारी बातें स्क्रीन पर ही आपस में लिपट रही थी, जैसे हमारे फॉरेस्ट में जड़ें भी लिपटती हैं। और एनवायरनमेंट मूवमेंट की यही खासियत है, इतनी सारे इंटरसेक्शन होने के बावजूद कई बार इग्नोर किया जाता है, क्योंकि लोग अक्सर जो कन्वेंशनल सेंस में जिसको एनवायरनमेंट बोलते हैं उसको वैसे देखते नहीं है। तो इसी के साथ आप सबसे अलविदा लेना चाहूंगा, और लेकिन आपको याद दिलाना चाहूंगा कि अगले थर्सडे हमारे यहाँ एक बहुत ही प्यारा और इम्पोर्टेंट सेशन होने वाला है ऑल्टरनेटिव्स के बारे में, विकल्पों के बारे में। क्योंकि लोग अक्सर कहते हैं कि अरे तुम्हें ये नहीं चाहिए, वो नहीं चाहिए, तुम सब चीजों के खिलाफ हो, तो तुम्हें क्या चाहिए। तो आइए अगले थर्सडे देखेंगे क्लाइमेट एंड ऑल्टरनेटिव्स में। एंड फिर से सबको जिंदाबाद, और जैसे मैंने अंग्रेजी में भी कहा, एनएपीएम की टेक टीम को भी थैंक यू बहुत अच्छे से आज हैंडल करने के लिए। थैंक यू ऑल, विल रैप इट अप।
Thank you all of you. Good night.
Good night.
Thanks, guys.
Excuse me, but how do we get to learn about the next week's call? I just happened to receive this. Hello?
Please follow the NAPM's Facebook page. All
Can
the
you please put it in the chat, because I don't think I'm aware of that. I just
we'll do it, and and then close the Zoom.